It's a pleasure to have you all here. It's a pleasure to host this latest show. My name is Olena. I'm the host from Kima Network, and we can start discussing the topic today. So welcome, ladies. And I'll start with Gintare. Gintare is the CEO of ChainGPT, where she leads the integration of AI with blockchain to enhance user interactions and platform functionalities. ChainGPT, which operates ChainGPT Pad and DigenPad, focuses on elevating blockchain project launches through strategic community engagement and innovative AI apps. Gintare, actually most likely all our followers are aware that Kima Network is having an IDO event on ChainGPT Pad, implying that there is hardly any person over there who doesn't know ChainGPT. However, for those who are new to Kima and ChainGPT, could you please explain what ChainGPT is doing in very simple terms and give us a little bit more info about you, your background, and actually your role in ChainGPT and DigenPad?
Sure. So thank you, Elena, for this introduction. So to give you a bit of understanding, so ChainGPT itself is AI infrastructure ecosystem. And under it we have different solutions, starting from AI chatbot, AI NFT generator, smart contract generator and auditor, trading bots, and etc. So apart from all these solutions, we also have ChainGPT Pad. ChainGPT Pad is a launch pad for Web3 projects, looking to launch their token before it's listed on the exchanges. And also just recently, we have launched a DigenPad that is also a launch pad for Web3 projects, but it's more focused on low FDP projects, maybe with a higher risk, but higher returns. So for both of these launch pads, I take a role as a CEO. Thank you.
Thank you, Gintare. It's a pleasure to have you here. So the next lady is Johanna. Johanna serves at the head of ecosystem at Venn, focusing on building and nurturing scalable blockchain ecosystems. Her experience includes the roles at the Algorand Foundation and Consensus, where she contributed to broadening and adopting blockchain applications. It's great to hear you here, Johanna. All Kima Network listeners will be glad to know more about your role in crypto and Web3, as well as Venn as a project. Could you please explain what Venn is doing, as if you were talking to a 10-year-old child? So in very simple terms.
Okay, I'll give it my best shot. So hi, everyone. Really delighted to be here. Thanks so much to Kima for inviting me on. So I'm going to give you the description of Venn. So it's a decentralized security layer validating transactions before they're sent on chain to prevent exploits, right? Okay. So it is composed of an on-chain firewall and a decentralized network of security operators. Now bear with me, okay, because that's still not explaining it like a 5-year-old. So imagine you have
Who knows, maybe for 5-year-olds now is kind of well educated.
So let me break it down. So imagine you have a DApp, and that DApp integrates Venn's on-chain firewall, and a user of that DApp activates a transaction. The transaction gets activated and it hits the firewall, and the firewall sends it into the decentralized security network, which where there is many security partners in the decentralized security network deciding whether that's a good transaction or a bad transaction. And this is what we call pre-transaction validation. If it is a good transaction, the transaction is allowed to get sent to the blockchain, and if not, it doesn't get sent to the blockchain. And that is very simply what it is. I hope I've explained it as a 5-year-old. So I kind of explained the two sides. There's the on-chain firewall, and the decentralized security network. And the decentralized security network there's been a lot of work put into bringing those security partners together, of which, there's Sigma Prime, OtterSec, Chain Security, and over 20 other partners as well. So or the CEO and Asaf, the CTO, have done an amazing job of bringing those security partners together. So now we're very excited on the other side to build out that ecosystem of DeFi dApps, and that will be my main hunting ground for the next for the foreseeable future, which I'm really excited about. And we are launching our public testnet in the coming weeks, and we're doing that in partnership with Eigenlayer, and we will be also launching an incentivization program to support that. So we're very excited about all that. There's lots happening, and any questions I can answer.
Thank you, Johanna. Thanks so much for presenting yourself and Venn project. We're having the next speaker. It's Gloria. Gloria is the head of events at the C Foundation, where she leverages her experience to foster community engagement and promote blockchain education. Her previous experience at Morph at Gitcoin has equipped her with profound insights into the potential and community dynamics of blockchain technology. It's a pleasure to have you here, Gloria, and we would like to hear more about your experience in crypto and Web3. So please let us know more about what Say Network and Say Foundation are doing, and also whether we should perceive them as separate entities or as one entity. Thanks.
Yeah, hi. I am extremely happy to be here, and thank you so much, Alina, to host this talk. I've been in the crypto space for about 8 years, mostly working with the developers, leading hackathons, leading in-person events and virtual events, and I absolutely love it. So Say is the first parallelization EVM, and it's basically having the dev tools of Ethereum with the performance of Solana, and it's great. And I work for the foundation. So Say is the network, and the foundation are the people who provide support to the network. So the labs deals with the technical support. The foundation deals with all of the marketing, all of the growth, the ecosystems, and things like that. So that's the best way to think about it. Kind of like how Ethereum is its own chain, but the foundation deals with the events around Ethereum. The same thing happens with Say Network and the Say Foundation.
Thank you, Gloria. Thank you. That makes a perfect sense and explains everything. So thanks. Now we have Maria from Datai Network, and she co-founded Datai Network after a significant tenure at Amazon, bringing a sharp focus on utilizing blockchain to optimize data analytics and market strategies. Datai Network aims to revolutionize how data is handled and analyzed in the blockchain space, providing actionable insights and enhancing decision-making processes in various industries. So, Maria, we are happy to have here today you, and please introduce yourself and your project and let our listeners know what makes it unique among other projects and maybe a little more about your background.
Sure. Thanks so much, Alina, for having me here alongside these marvelous ladies in Web3. So to start a little bit about myself, so as you mentioned already, I come from an engineering business background, originally spent a large chunk of my career at Amazon and AWS, mainly in B2C and B2B marketing roles. I delved into the blockchain space around 2 years ago when I joined Merlin, which is a centralized data provider, working with them in communications, marketing, and a bit of BD. And now, so I'm a co-founder of Datai Network. In a nutshell, Datai Network is a decentralized data analytics layer that basically transforms raw blockchain data into actionable insights for anyone, whether it's a business, developer, or any user. What makes us different or unique? I think it's the way we look at blockchain data. So we start from transactions, and the core of our tech revolves around blockchain transactions. So it's not about who's sending, who's receiving. It's more about really understanding what the user is doing in each transaction, what's the type of smart contract they're interacting with. Is it DeFi or NFT, bridging or gaming? Like, what did the user do when they validated or transacted? Did they add liquidity or claim a reward? Did they borrow or bridge? So think about the billions of transactions that exist today on the blockchain, and Datai network can provide insights on these transactions, so making us the sort of encyclopedia of what users are doing on chain. And then it's completely up to our customers to use this information as they see fit. So it can be used for AI modeling, for understanding your users on a chain, doing targeted marketing strategies, or even like financial reporting.
Thank you, Maria. We're happy to have you here. And actually, maybe the first question of our topic discussion will go to you, because you started talking about your background, how it all started. And actually, for many, their first encounter with blockchain marked the beginning of a deep interest or even career shift. So with that in mind, I'd like to hear, girls, about your personal experience. How did you get into crypto? And actually, kind of funny question, do you remember the first time you interacted with blockchain technology? And what was that initial experience like for you? So how was that? Maybe Maria, as you already started talking about your first encounter, so we'd like to hear you first.
Sure. I think I first heard about Bitcoin back in 2013 when I was at university in Paris, and we had like a case study about the Silk Road. It intrigued my interest a lot, that there's just this parallel world with a currency not linked to the banking system. I thought it was crazy, but as you know, like at the time it was quite negatively connotated, so I didn't think about it for many years until 2017, when again, like people started talking around me about Bitcoin price increasing. And then I think the first time was on my birthday in 2018. A friend of mine actually sent me like $100 of Bitcoin. He sent me the seed phrase. Obviously, I'm not using the same wallet now because he has a copy of the seed phrase. But that was the first time I interacted with the blockchain. It was very interesting. I was quite surprised at how like less user friendly it was than it is now, and like it was hard to monitor performance of the wallet, things like that. But yeah, that's what I remember as the first interaction.
That's so funny, kind of fun. Thank you. Ladies who would like to continue? Maybe Johanna?
Hi. So my how did I get into blockchain? I think it's a cultural thing on my side. I've never really been that great with authority. So I think what really attracted to me was this idea of a new way of peer-to-peer like transactions, and without having to deal with a bank, I think was one thing that really intrigued me. And then also when I joined the blockchain space, I joined Consensus, I think back in 2018, and I got to engage with this amazing just community of people, of misfits, of people who were trying to disrupt the way things that the normal way that people were just accepting, and they weren't operating well, and blockchain and crypto was kind of disrupting that, and I loved that, and I loved being around people who were trying to innovate at all times, and I just thought that it was so exciting, and I loved it, and I've just come across the most incredible people as well. Gloria, who's also on the panel, is somebody that I came across quite early in my journey in blockchain, and just the kindness and of sharing, and I think we'll probably touch on it later, but just how important it is to have those allies within the ecosystem to help. And I can see Doro also there listening, so just amazing people that you come across in the blockchain space.
Yeah, that's so true. I used to say that crypto is some kind of big family because the networking here is so huge. And whenever you go to any conference, you see all familiar faces there, or there is an option to know a person not through 6 handshakes, but through 2. So that's what crypto is all about to me.
For sure.
Thank you, Johanna. Gintare, would you like to share about your first experience?
Sure. So my the experience with blockchain started in 2017 when I graduated university in London, and I had to choose between whether I want to continue with the master's degree or whether I want to go, straight away to the internship. And at the time, I saw, on, like an ad, it was called blockchain research internship. I was like, who the hell is blockchain? I had no idea at the time what it is. But I was like thinking, okay, let's find out. So yeah, I started the internship, and at the time, it was super hard to find people who understands blockchain technology, who has experience in there. And basically, after like 2 months working in this internship, I was at the time in London, and I'm originally from Lithuania. So because I put it, on my LinkedIn that I work at this company, I start to receive, calls from companies in Lithuania asking, for me to, maybe I want to come back to Lithuania and work for those companies, because that was really a lack of people who had any knowledge about the technology itself. So Lithuania wasn't really the plan for me to come back. But yeah, then I decided, why not? Let's give it a shot. And then, I was working with several projects at the same time. And then, the whole bubble started where a lot of scams appeared. And then, 99% of basically were scams. And there was a lot of lost trust by the, community. So, then I had to kind of, leave the crypto space for a bit. And then I was offered a job position in Nord Security. At the time, it was NordVPN. So I started, to be more like a bit more like time in researching in cybersecurity, etc. And I worked there for 2 years. But again, I got an offer to join a crypto company, which was a launchpad. But no, I changed the path. So I was like so skeptical because, I was already like thinking, if it's so unstable, do I really want that? But at the same time, I was like so excited about technology itself, how it's innovative and how it's unique and new. And I just decided, okay, I will just go ahead and try it. And yeah, after that working, I was like really happy with my decision. And then I got offer, from ChainGPT, from ChainGPT team itself. And then they said that they're creating this ChainGPT, and if I would like to manage it. So yeah, I was super happy with this decision. And maybe like my first interaction with the technology itself. So it was in my internship that I, tried to use Kraken Exchange, and I was like, okay, I have no idea what to do in here. But yeah, now I'm definitely more advanced there. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's so funny. Like the first usage of the exchange when you see all those canals and you understand really nothing. That's so funny. Thank you. Gloria, what about you? So would you like to share your experience?
Yeah. So I first heard, I was working at Square. They had the Cash App, which dealt with peer-to-peer payment systems. And in 2016, I had gotten pregnant and was on maternity leave. And I said, well, let's see like who else is dealing with peer-to-peer payment systems and like removing some of the barriers to entry. And that had me kind of go down this rabbit hole into Bitcoin. And because I worked closely with like developers at my time at Square, I was really interested to see like how you could build on Bitcoin. And I couldn't really find a lot of information at the time. But I was able to find a lot of information about Ethereum by watching the core developer call. So when I did have my son in 2017, whenever I would breastfeed him, I would watch the core developer call, take notes, and try to either do what they were doing or like reach out to whoever was talking about the subject that they were talking about and like go a little bit deeper. And that allowed me to really get to know like the core developers really, really well. And then the next year I got to go to DevCon on a grant that through a program that Johanna actually had done at Consensus. And that was the first time when I actually realized that there weren't like a lot of women in the space, because prior to that, I was just like learning on my own and you're just dealing with avatars mostly. But when I went to DevCon, I was in a room of like maybe 200 people learning about a technology, and I think it was a naming space, a domain space workshop, but I was the only woman in the room. And I remember being like, okay, we need to really start to advance this a little bit more and bring more women into the space. But yeah, it was great for me to kind of learn during then. And I loved it because it was when Ethereum was less, the price of Ethereum was less, that when you joined hackathons, if you submitted something as a prize, you would get 1 ETH. And so as a woman, that was really great because it meant that through having my own wallet, I could control my own finances and I could hold on to that ETH and like not be pressured to sell or whatnot by any external forces. So as I continued throughout motherhood, I realized that the blockchain space was great for me as a mom because of the flexibility. And even for me, when I do travel or do anything like that, it's just been a great space for me to work with creators and work with developers and see new projects spin up and really be encouraged by the future and the innovation in the space. So.
Thank you, Gloria. So funny that you have mentioned the fact that women are still underrepresented in the field, and actually that's so true, and that's why we're all here. And as we focus on the topic of empowering women in blockchain and cryptocurrency on today's show, it's important to address this experience. And actually, my next question is about the skills that you think a lady, a woman, should have to become successful in Web3 and actual blockchain sphere. So could you share the challenges that you faced as a woman in crypto, if there were any, of course, and how you managed to overcome them? So maybe we'll start with Gloria, because Gloria started talking about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I always try to say like the most difficult thing about working in crypto is actually time to meet. Like, because we work with people all over the world, trying to have like a meeting time is always like the most difficult. And then like understanding like work-life balance, that part of it is difficult. Everything else is what you bring to the table. Like everyone else is learning. The space moves so fast. There's not really like experts. Like you can be an expert within 2 years if you find a rabbit hole that you really enjoy. Everything else seems to be very overcomable. There are some things that seem like skill sets that are great that women naturally have, as far as like being much more social and being much more able to like amplify projects and being very inquisitive and things like that are helpful. But then there's also times where imposter syndrome for anyone can get into the space. And a lot of times when you come to a project within the blockchain space, you feel like you need to know everything about everything within crypto. And over time you realize like that's not the case, but imposter syndrome makes it very difficult to like speak up. And when you're in a room where there's not more people that look like you or come from that background, you already feel pretty hesitant to speak up. So the important thing is to remember is like crypto is based on communities. So there are people of like-minded people, even if it's just supporting, a token per se, but you are meant to be in that space because you enjoy it. It's an open door. And so the hardest, or something that might be difficult, is to let go of the imposter syndrome. But it's also important that us who feel comfortable in the space create an opportunity of openness and a culture of support and empowerment, so that people who might feel less comfortable do feel welcomed through the onboarding process, or do have people that they can turn to there. So even for me in my career, I know that I can always go to Johanna at any time and be like, I just need to talk, or I need to, come and vent and whatnot. And she's been a great support for me in my career. But we should really be supportive of each other in this space, because Web3 and open source in general can be a difficult space for people to have mentally. And there's been a lot of loss throughout the time in these type of cultures, but the more that we can create a welcome atmosphere for people, the better off we are as a whole.
Yeah, that's so very true. And actually, just an idea came to my mind when you were speaking that's so true about the imposter syndrome, because I actually felt the same. So the more you know, in crypto, the more you feel like you know nothing. So, and when you dive deeper, so you understand that it's kind of a abyss of the knowledge that can be reached. So that's so true.
Elena, just on like building on what Gloria was saying, like I always like when new people come into, like women, men, everyone, I always make a very important point of like on the team of like everyone must be kind is the first and foremost, because I think when kindness leaves the room, I think people stop to share their voice. And people stop being a little bit more braver, and we are all learning at all times. I like, that's why I put that proclamation out. It was like, always be learning. If you're in an environment that isn't supporting you learning, and that's you doing your own learning, you need to carve out, you need to make a special effort to carve out, because if you're not learning, the space moves so fast, and it's hard to keep up. So like, to give you a kind of practical, advice, something I did over the last 2 years, I had this amazing mentor, Daniel Oon, who's now working as head of DeFi and he Polygon, and he used to take me for like 30 minutes every 2 weeks, and just I'd say, okay, I want to talk about this topic for 30 minutes. Again, find that ally, find that support, and just always be learning. And yeah, that's just a huge piece of advice I would have.
Thank you, Johanna. That's very helpful. So that's so true. Gintare, would you like to share your experience and actually share the challenges that you might have faced as a woman in crypto? Because I know your team, you are surrounded by men. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, actually, being in the company of 64 people, and we have only 7% of women statistically in our company, and I am a CEO of ChainGPT, and mainly I have men that I need to in a way manage, and sometimes it can be challenging because some guys, they have some ego and and stuff, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, you just have to kind of maybe use a bit more of your masculine energy, and just prove yourself, be confident, and I'm not gonna say, sometimes it's really hard, and sometimes you start questioning yourself, and thinking, maybe I don't belong for this role, maybe there are definitely better guys to take this role. But then you say to yourself, but no, like, I was selected for this role, I'm doing great, I'm going to do my best, and that's it's everything inside you. So that's how I think you can overcome these kind of thoughts in your head. And another thing, I think, in general, I really agree with the ladies. I think when you talk about the skills, I think not even for the ladies, but also in general for everyone. If you start your career in a blockchain industry, I think it's really important to understand it first of all, because I think in any role, it's going to be really hard if you don't really understand the technology itself. And of course, it really depends on different roles you're taking. For example, myself, so when I started working in a startup, I really had to be really flexible with my skills. So basically, I had to do maybe some part of the content, maybe reviewing legal agreements and approving them. So understanding, all the legal terms. Then it could be like tokenomics. I need to understand whole tokenomics, how it works for a particular market, how to change it, that it would be, successful listing for the project's token. And in general, if your aim is to at some point, to manage, then you really have to also learn those skills. But yeah, I think everything you can learn. And also very important thing is that you really have to get out yourself of comfort zone. I'm gonna say I really didn't like to speak on the Twitter Spaces or like any AMAs, but I said so how are you gonna improve? So now I'm talking to Twitter Spaces and I enjoy it. So it's just getting out of your comfort zone.
It's a pleasure. Actually, I've tried to make up the question the way that it would be a discussion, not that like some things which weren't be interesting to discuss. So yeah, that's why we're here. So Maria, what can you say about your experience? And actually, maybe you also take the next question. It will be about 3 things that you like about crypto and kind of pinch of salt, 3 things that were actually at least 1 thing that you would like to change. So when talking about women scene and the challenges that we are facing, is it something that you would like to change in the sphere? So if no, what else would you like to change?
Okay. I think the ladies wrapped up the previous question quite well. I agree with especially the imposter syndrome part. So moving on to the next question. So the 3 things I like most about crypto, I would have to say an important one is the values of decentralization, building the objective trust mechanisms and how it's very community driven. I think we touched upon these subjects already a little bit. The second aspect is definitely the people as well in Web3. I mean, I've met a variety of interesting and unique individuals in this world, and I like how crypto and common values kind of unites us all. And the third, I think maybe it's a funny one, but I think the fact that anything is possible in crypto, who would have thought 10 years ago NFTs would become what they are today, or even meme coins and their success, who would have thought that the market cap of meme coins can be more than $60 billion? So anything is possible. I think that sums it up as the top 3 aspects. Now, what I think can be improved in crypto, from a women perspective, I mean, I definitely think more women should be in the industry. I think the imposter syndrome or maybe the fear of getting into it could be a barrier. It was for me a long time ago, but I ran across this joke online recently that said this girl was trying to learn about crypto and then she realized it's a mix of everything she doesn't know about computers mixed with everything she doesn't know about finance. And it made me laugh because from the tech side of things, that's kind of the skills that you need. But other than that, what can be improved, I think it's the user friendliness of it all, the lack of tools or platforms, for the non-tech savvy, maybe people who are more, I don't know, less technical. I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I think that the blockchain data analytics part has a lot of improvement to do. It's still a greenfield. I'm happy to be part of a team that's trying to make it as user-friendly as possible at Data Network. So I would say that's the main thing I'd like to improve.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that you've said. Actually, maybe I would change the theme, especially the theme about being user-friendly, etc. So when I first started crypto, so the only thing that I could read was white paper. And for me, as a non-tech person, it was kind of mess. It was hell because I understood nothing. And then when the Binance Academy appeared, it was all a little bit easier because it was more user-friendly, for beginners, intermediaries, so advanced users. So yeah, I totally. Thank you, Maria. Maybe some of the ladies would like to take the lead.
Sure, I can take Johanna if you're fine with that.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so I really agree with the previous speaker, and in regards to community, I think Web3 community is really amazing, and whenever I go to the conference, I meet so many amazing people that that they really become my friends for a long term. So it's really amazing how you can really what people can meet in Web3 space. Another thing is, I would say, the creativity and innovation it's so interesting, to hear me being as a launch, in the launchpad space. I every day hear so many ideas, of founders, how they are, building ideas that will connect blockchain technology. So for me, it's like really fascinating, to hear so many different creative thoughts of and ideas what they're trying to do. And yeah, and of course, and another thing is for sure is financial freedom. Is giving like access, to people globally, and it removes like all the like intermediaries, like banks or payment processors. So that would be like those three things from my side. And in terms of what I would like to change, maybe is, well, I mean, now already like it's more like from educational point. So now like already universities, started to adding some degrees where they teach like about blockchain, etc. Still not so many, but they started. But I think that they should have started like teaching kids from the school more about blockchain technology. I was having my like 13-year-old brother and 14-year-old cousin coming to me and, asking, and they were fascinated and so interested about it. And they asked me to teach them how to trade. And I was like so surprised that at this age, they're interested in that. And yeah, I think it would be great that if schools could start, a little bit dive deep more into this, because I really think that blockchain is the future. Is like, as they all say, is going to stay. And I think it's really they should really start learning that. Start learning children that. The only thing is that when you are this early stage, you will start like introducing crypto to children. The market is still very like, how to say, toxic. There is so much like, I mean, it's scary. It could be scary for some, young children to be in this space. So this is again another thing that I would like to change, is that there will be more tolerance, and not that the market itself wouldn't be so toxic. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe more secure, I would add, because we should also teach children how to be safe actually in this toxic space, let's say. So yeah, true. Johanna?
So, just to kind of add on a couple of things to like the things I really like. I love, I kind of mentioned it before about the innovation. I just love the innovation that happens. And you would go to events like 4 or 5 years ago and people would be talking about their projects. Whereas even 2 years ago, you go to the same events and you'd have two founders on a panel talking about what they do, and this amazing thing where they're like, oh, we could like connect to you, and you could. So this like composability was happening in real time at events, which I just find so exciting. And it just, how fast that moves and how innovation can move so fast in the blockchain space. But also it's really good fun. I love that it's fun, and I feel like, I'm in my 40s now and I'm still having fun in my workplace. And, so many of my friends and families have no idea about what I do. But, that's why I keep coming back. That's why I'm still here. It's still so much fun. There's still so much innovation. One thing that maybe I, don't like about it is, with, especially sometimes it never shuts down. And I find, Gloria kind of touched on it, before about, the kind of burnout, and you really have to be quite strict about not letting it burn you out. And, when you are, you have like, have 2 kids, and, they need you for a couple of weeks during the year, and you just need to be very strict about that if that's possible. So I just, that is one element that I do struggle with a little bit. That would just be my kind of plus and minuses about the space.
Yeah, that's so true. I just remembered that when I first told my parents that I got into crypto, it was really hard to explain what it was. So yeah, my mother was telling our relative that I'm just involved in some marketing in English, just not to dive deeper and explaining something that she couldn't really get.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gloria, would you like to add something?
Yeah, there's a lot that I love about this space. I love working with people from around the world and being able to see them be able to find financial freedom through crypto projects. And that is something that I just love seeing. I'm lucky to live in a space where our currency is pretty stable, but I work with people where their cryptocurrencies that they get paid in are much more stable than the fiat currencies that they get paid in. So it's great to see them gain stability there. To Gintare's point about their child education, both my kids are crypto savvy in a different way. My 7-year-old learned to see different logos and can recognize different cryptocurrency logos. And in your grocery stores here, you can change coins to cryptocurrencies using like a Coinstar. And he really likes to change his coins into different cryptocurrencies that he knows. And it's been a really great to just kind of see that process and how he thinks about them and how he engages with them. I find it somewhat fascinating. My 15-year-old, he's been into crypto a lot longer and has participated in different DAOs and got his friends involved and whatnot. And it brings up some really interesting conversations for a long time because I was the custodian for his wallet for a long time. And then I had him miss out on a run because I didn't like what he was thinking about buying, and I wasn't in that community. I didn't even know. And he had a good talk with me about self-sovereignty and who is supposed to own their wallets. So now he owns his wallet, and I just have to pray that he doesn't get rugged. But we had a big conversation the other day about college, and I was talking about the importance of going to college and doing well in school. And he was just like, Mom, I really don't have to go to college because I could just learn blockchain and build some cool apps and then work at for a different type of token or work for a foundation just like you. And I was just like, okay. So probably the side that I like the least is like having to parent through this because it's just somewhat of a struggle sometimes. But I also don't like the whole idea that people have where they have to reach some type of knowledge in order for themselves to be involved with owning their crypto, or just that like crypto is such a difficult thing where someone else should have to navigate it for them. I think that starts to open up a lot of doors for, scams and things like that, where the reality is we should be encouraging people to, be self-sovereign and like learn, and that anyone can jump in, and that we should be producing resources that are available for people to jump in at any spot and to learn more about, our communities and whatnot. So I think that the network becomes stronger when each individual becomes stronger, and the more educated that person becomes about the different projects or the opportunities, the better off we are as a whole. So that would be the thing I'd like to change. And I would also like to change more funding for projects for people who come from non-traditional backgrounds. I think that the funding for those projects aren't always there, and sometimes it takes a lot to explain why this project has to exist, rather than just like, let's try to fund some of these projects and give it out to the communities that need it.
Yeah, that's so very true. I agree actually with everything that had been mentioned by you girls. And let's shift our conversation to a kind of interesting and tricky topic. It's the state of the market. Actually, the beginning of the year 2024 can be truly called the year of RWA tokenization, layer 2 solutions, DePIN, and the development of the AI trend. So how do you see these trends being developed further, and what are the other trends that might pop up actually by the end of 2024? And actually, the second tricky question will be about the state of the market right now, because we all see the state the market is in right now. And my question will be like, where do you see Bitcoin in the near future? And what are your ideas about the market state right now? And maybe about the changes that we're gonna see in the nearest future. maybe we'll start with Gintare. Gintare, how do you feel about that?
Sure. So, starting, with the current market and, what are the predictions. So, everyone was really expecting that September is going to be the month where we'll see, market to really recovering, but we are not really seeing that. So again, now there are talks that October should be the month where we'll see that. So it's really hard to predict. I hope that really at the end of this year, we will see, some growth, due to Bitcoin ETF approvals, the halving, and, in general, all the growing institutional interest. But again, it's very hard to predict. And, on the positive note, I think 2024, crypto market really start to be more mature. There are more regulatory clarity, and it really brings more legitimacy to the market overall. So yeah, I think Bitcoin, and the broader crypto market is definitely going to grow in the future. I mean, we just need to kind of probably wait a little bit for that. But yeah, of course, let's not forget that the crypto is still volatile, and I think there is still room for improvement. In terms of the narratives that you mentioned, I do agree with you. I think these are the main narratives of 2024. In terms of real world assets tokenization, I think it could even extend beyond the finance. I think it could start in sectors like real estate, art, or intellectual property. Creating $1 trillion market. For example, if we are talking about layer 2 solutions, then companies like Optimism, Arbitrum, or ZK they also aim to reduce cost and increase transaction speed. So that drives more activity to these layers. So meaning that the connection between layer 2s and other chains in the future is really important for the growth. And then if we are talking about the narrative, AI, for example, integration, I think that it could also really improve the blockchain space, by enabling smart contracts, market predictions, and really all the decentralized AI models could really help to reduce some costs and open more access. If I would need to predict maybe for the upcoming narratives, there are some, but again, it's just predictions. But I think that some upcoming trends that that we will hear more about is sovereign identity solutions, then quantum resistant cryptography, then green blockchain initiatives, narrative based training. That these ones I think gonna be more important very soon. I don't know. Do you want me guys to explain more about these narratives, or let's give speakers to speak as we don't have much time left?
Yeah, thank you, Gintare. Very interesting points, and actually I do agree with most of them. So Gloria, how about you? Would you like to express your ideas about the state of the market and maybe the huge narrative that we're going to see in the future?
Yeah, I think so. For me, I've been in this space for some time, and the markets, it's like when it dips, you focus on builders, and then when it's high, more speculators are there. So it's just you just end up riding the market out a little bit more in my mind, and focus more on building and community, and just riding it out is always the best. I think when it talks about trends in the future, all I can really think about is my 15-year-old who really has never been attached to fiat currency or to even a debit card or credit card. He's very used to peer-to-peer payments. And I think in 3 years when he becomes 18 and all his friends are, in the workforce, that this whole aspect of being loyal to a token and having everything happening on chain is just going to be what this group of youth is used to doing, and not just him in the US, but just globally. And so I think that, we see the markets really from a certain generations, like the first generation of cryptos perspective, but this next generation of youth coming up is going to be where we see a lot of innovation and a lot of power, because they're going to be the power users that aren't even attached to a fiat currency and will probably keep everything on chain. So that's my guess, is to see a big explosion in like 3 years from when they get out into being the actual consumers of everyday uses.
Yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
agree with Gloria. Just I think it's underestimated. As long as they haven't been scared by their parents about not, using crypto, or like gets talked around the table. But I think you're going to have that like certain cohort of like, teenagers who are very inquisitive and it'll just be the norm. One thing that I would like to see more of, and I know that Gloria will probably share the same sentiment, is I think we're seeing the same community and the same people and the same like kind of the liquidity being the same, where I think you kind of need like fresh new liquidity and new users. And I think like seeing announcements like MetaMask and MasterCard and all of those kind of household names being used in the same sentence as crypto names like MetaMask, I think that it does two things. It validates crypto as an actual thing, and that's relatively safe, but it also allows a new wave of new users, not existing users. And I think until the new users come into the space, it doesn't really matter what kind of innovation is happening. It's so important that journey and that branding as a whole continues, and you get those big announcements keeping them coming, because I think it always lights my heart a little bit when I see them, because I'm like, okay, this is it, it's continuing, it's keep on going, because sometimes you have exhausting days and you're in the pits of a bear market, and it's just they are the announcements that really keep you going.
Yeah, thank you, Johanna. So Maria, what about you? What are your ideas about the market now, and actually the trends that might pop up in the future?
Sure. I think, I agree with a lot of what the ladies already said. I do think, like Gintare said, like the market is becoming a bit more mature now, and we are seeing like more and more institutional and governmental interest. Like many governments like the US are discussing like adding Bitcoin to their reserves. And I think that can have a significant like impact long term. It shows that Bitcoin is transitioning, not like from a alternative asset, and it's becoming integrated into the traditional financial ecosystem. And I think that this institutional adoption is crucial because it can stabilize the market over time as like regulatory changes are introduced. And I think Bitcoin is moving towards becoming a recognized store of value like gold was in the past, and that's definitely promising, even if short-term volatility remains. Difficult to predict, if October or November things will look up. I will save the predictions for the experts, but definitely optimistic on my side. Regarding the trends, I think deepen, it's going to be really important to, for Deepen projects to have partnerships with governments directly that can help move and scale Deepen projects. I think that's something that's going to be upcoming, especially on the regulatory side of things. And that can achieve like the scale needed for widespread adoption that was mentioned now, and that can lower the costs as well. The trend I'm most excited about, and again, I'm biased here, but it's the development of blockchain data and AI. I think the blockchain data analytics space is still sort of stuck like in the past. Even though blockchain data is technically publicly available to all, it's still quite hard to actually decipher it and understand it and make it like usable on a daily basis from a business perspective. And I think there will be more and more like data AI projects trying to make sense of this data on chain and make it relevant to various entities. Yeah, that's my take, I think, and the trend I'm most excited about.
Yeah, thank you, ladies. Actually, Gloria, sorry.
Yeah, I just had to just have one word of encouragement, and it was just that before that something becomes a trend, it becomes someone's idea, and before it's an idea, it's a pain point, and we're in a spot where we should really be exploring pain points and innovating and really building out some of these ideas. So, like, if it's not a trend now, and you see a space in the technology that could be applicable, that you think like, wow, I wish it could do X, Y, or Z on that. Like, I would encourage people to still explore that, because as a whole in this space, we should just be innovating and just trying things out to see what's possible, especially with this technology.
Yeah, that's so very true. Actually, if you want to make it a trend, make it a trend. So yeah, we couldn't even imagine what the meme coin story, so how meme coin story would end. So yeah, that's true. Thank you, ladies, for your ideas. Now we will have some kind of fun. So please, let me see that this is a kind of disclaimer, and all the questions that I'm going to ask you are just for fun. Those are not financial advice, so you will have to choose between two alternatives that I'm giving to you and give a quick answer and maybe to add something that you think, but in a very quick way, because this is going to be kind of speed round for us. And again, this is not financial advice. It doesn't mean that you're supporting this or that coin. It's just for fun, for us to plug a little bit and to make it funnier. So maybe we will start with Gintare. So questions will be really different from different types of crypto. So Gintare, so what would you prefer, Consensus 2024 or Web Summit?
Web Summit.
Okay, good. Trading on DEXs or SEXs?
SEXs.
Okay. OKX or Bybit?
OKX.
Good. Thank you, Gintare. Gloria,
No.
you are the next victim. So, finding out who Satoshi is or finding out the Coca-Cola recipe?
Finding out Coca-Cola recipe.
Come on. You would like to be extremely rich.
I cannot keep a secret with beans. If I found out who Satoshi was, everyone would find out who Satoshi was.
So funny. Okay, traditional question, Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Ethereum.
Okay, that was predictable from you, actually, from what you have said before. Okay, lunch with Elon Musk or Changpeng Zhao?
Ooh. I would say lunch with Elon Musk.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Gloria. It was fun. So, Maria, are you ready?
Yes.
So, Doge or SHIB?
Doge.
Okay, not financial advice.
Yeah.
Good. So, blockchain Paris Week or token 2049?
Token 2049, and I'll be there, by the way, in Singapore. If any of you ladies want to meet up, happy to.
Yeah, sure. So some of our DD team from Kima Network will be there. So let's sync with them, and we will be glad to meet. Sure, and take some photos and to post them here. So guys, stay tuned. Okay, would you rather be a founder of the project yourself or work for the company?
Definitely a founder.
Yes, because you are here. Good. Thank you. Johanna, you're the last person for this quick round. So, would you rather be a crypto influencer or an anonymous geek in crypto?
Oh, definitely an anonymous geek in crypto.
Oh, okay, good. Binance or Coinbase?
Oh, Coinbase.
Okay, good. USDT or USDC?
Oh, don't make me answer that.
Okay, Doge or SHIB?
Doge.
Okay. So, holding up 10 altcoins or the same amount in Bitcoin?
Oh, that's a toughie. The naughty side of me says 10 altcoins.
Okay. But please remember that top 10 altcoins have changed through these years, and we can hardly see the same list right now. And maybe in the future it will be really different. Okay, ladies, thank you so much. I hope that it was fun for you. It was a pleasure for me to host you, to hear your ideas, to discuss, because I would say that this was not kind of one-to-one speech. It was really a discussion, and I was really happy, and it was fun for me to be here among such well-educated ladies and powerful ladies in crypto. So it was a pleasure for me. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Elena. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you,
Thanks,
ladies.
Elena. It was great.
Yeah, bye-bye. Have a nice evening, day. So see you. Bye.